TradioV. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
Stop wincing about.
Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
Stop wincing about.
Check. Oh, yes. Inside Metal Show, TradioV. Little Motorhead to start off today's show.
Yes.
Classic Motorhead with the late, great Filthy Animal Taylor, one of my biggest inspirations growing up. Unbelievable drummer, and he was Motorhead to me with Lemmy, along with Lemmy
Yeah.
and Fast Eddie Clark. That to me No disrespect to Motorhead now, but that was the real Motorhead, and he was such an icon of a drummer, and it's a terrible loss. We got Miss Jasmin St. James here, my co-host.
St. James.
Did I say St. Clair? I was thinking I was just talking to someone about Jamie St. James.
Well, actually, here's a bit of unknown trivia.
Speak.
The very first John Russo, I think he did one of those those scary films, either Night of the Living Dead or one of those, but he's actually the first person that ever used me in something when I was 18. And I used the name Jasmin St. James.
Oh, well, see,
I had ID, by the way, so yeah.
All right, Miss Jasmin St. Clair, of course. And I believe we got Neeley. Mr. Neeley Skyped in. Are you there?
I am here, Bob.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
You can barely hear the Neeley Meister. We're getting you tuned in here.
How are you?
Doing well. Can you hear us okay, Mr. Neeley?
See, I hear you fine, Bob. I got A1 equipment just like you, pal.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear Jasmine okay?
I do.
Well, very good.
That was
very
a shame about Phil.
Yeah, it's
kind of shocking.
We're just talking about Filthy Animal Taylor from Motorhead passing. And speaking of Motorhead, might as well start in. Of course, Neeley from the Classic Metal Show, classicmetalshow.com, my favorite internet podcast and radio show.
You were catching up on the show today, weren't you,
I
Bob?
absolutely was. I love listening to the podcast. It's so hard for me to catch it live now on Saturday evenings, but I always and now Chris is posting them up kind of in segments during the week. So every time they post up, I'm always downloading them. And now that I could put hook up my iPod to my car, that's my driving. I would say driving music, but driving listening pleasure is listening to the Classic Metal Show.
Nice.
While cruising down the highway.
It would make my day if Jasmine said she was a fan too, but she's probably like, who's this guy again and what does he do?
Well, she remembered you from the Armored Saint, the Gonzo and
Yes.
Jarvis.
See, that's what I do know. I don't really...
She said he's that really good-looking guy, right?
I said he's that really cute guy that looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter, like a better-looking version.
I didn't say anything.
I'm
She
going to
said that on
catch
her
up
own.
with your. I'm going to catch up with your podcast. It probably is one of my only other favorites because there's so much crap out there, And then you have people playing new metal saying it's metal. No, it's not metal. Then people wonder. When I say the King of Denmark, I mean King Diamond. Like you probably get that. He gets that, but very few people get it.
Yes.
Well, we're not posers, Bob.
You're not
Bob's a
hipsters.
hardcore man.
That's
Yes.
right. Absolutely. And while on the topic of Motorhead, Lemmy, I've heard through the grapevine, he's out touring Europe with Girl School opening, which is a great bill. And a classic bill, of course. The Motorhead Girl School dates back to, 1982. He's supposedly going to pull a Tommy Cooper from what I understand. He's ignoring all doctors' advices. For those that don't know Tommy Cooper, he was the comedian magician that died on stage. The British guy from what was that? Like the 70s or 80s? 80s, I think.
It's very dark.
And he and everyone thought it was part of the show kind of thing. And supposedly Lemmy's on a mission just to keel over until to tour until he keels over. And he, I've heard people saying they give it to the end of the year for
horrible.
Lem, which is horrible. But you know what? Lemmy wouldn't have it any other way. I think that's what he wants to do. He loves playing, and supposedly he's ignored all doctors' advices, so he's back doing what he does. Living the rock and roll lifestyle, and I certainly hope that's not the case with Lemmy. I hope he lives on forever, as we all do. But it goes back to something you talk about many times on your show, Neeley. All the classic hard rock metal guys are, dying off, or will soon to be dying off. And what's that going to leave us? What's the metal scene going to leave us?
Extreme metal?
Well, we've often discussed that the arena acts, are far and few in between, and when the big acts go away, be it Kiss, AC/DC, Black Sabbath is on their last round, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Once all those guys are gone, there will be nobody else on an arena size scale.
Yeah.
I believe there will always be metal. There will always be people who continue on the tradition of what we like to call classic metal. But on an arena size scale, it's never going to happen again.
Yeah, I agree, because you got Scorpions. They're on their last leg. this is going to be. I think this is going to be the last tour for them. AC/DC. This will probably be their last round.
Motley
They were
Crue's
fantastic.
doing something?
Motley Crue's
Yeah.
done. Judas Priest. This will be, their they can't continue. on
Don't
much
say
longer.
that.
It's. They keep saying it's their last tour. They'll plod on, maybe do a show here and there, do a festival here and there, maybe. But seriously, how much longer could they go on? There's not a whole lot left. You're absolutely right. I think there are some of the younger bands. I mean, you have the festival kind of.
Those draw big crowds.
Well, they have been, but now they're not doing as well because it's not like in Europe where they're very consistent and do well all the time. You have certain the Wacken, the Sweden Rock. You have several all throughout Europe that have been consistent the last 20, 30 years and going stronger than ever. And I think here in the States, they keep putting the same damn bands on the same bills, and people are getting tired of it. They definitely need to start mixing some things up.
It's sad.
What do you think, Mr. Neeley?
Well, again, Bob, I know that there's always going to be the festival style things going on, but when it comes to a great headliner with the big production and in an arena style setting, again, once these big bands are gone, these bands that are 40 years old, for Christ's sakes, I mean, think about it. Look at Scorpions. They've been around since the 60s.
True. Not a lot of people know that, but yeah.
They're almost as old as you and I together.
Well, how old are you?
He's
I'm
26.
old enough. Me and Bob are the same age, aren't we, Bob?
I just turned 51, so
Yeah.
that's
Happy birthday.
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So
basically, your girlfriend's half our ages.
That's okay.
Had to bring that up, Neeley.
You got Judas
Taylor,
Priest.
call in if you like. I know you're listening.
You got Judas Priest, who's been around since the early 70s.
True.
You got Iron
Sabbath,
Maiden,
of
that's
course.
been around since the late 70s.
Yep.
And here we are in 2015 heading into 2016. These bands are heading up on 40, going on 50 years old already, and it's going to come to an end. Again, you saw AC/DC this year with two original members?
Well, if you think about it, it's only one, really, Angus, because the bass player was Cliff Williams came in on Powerage. So.
Right. So really one original member, and they've been around since the early 70s. And then Kiss, of course, they started in the early 70s, two of the original members. And, it's going to dwindle down to where there will not be an arena size act left anymore worth going to see.
Yeah, well, you'll still have Metallica, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, some of the the big four. They're still.
You think they could fill
well.
an arena by themselves?
No, but they'll do like Gigantor, and Gigantor's done pretty well. So you'll have those kind of bands, and then with Anthrax, Slayer. I mean, those are kind of the leading bands now. Of course, Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah,
and I think Iron Maiden will definitely go on a few more.
They
years.
could hold their own.
Go ahead, Jake. Oh.
Hey, I got a question. Hey, what about this idea that Guns N' Roses is coming back?
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be our topic after the break.
Yes.
But
Oh, my bad. I didn't know. My bad.
If you want to do it now or do a break, it's up to you, Jake.
Had I
You're
had
the producer
any idea
here.
that's what it was, I would have shut my big
I
trap.
don't even know if they could even pull off a good show, because back when a lot of these bands were hungry trying to make it on the Strip, it's one thing, there's that passion and energy and drive on stage, but then years later, I mean, what is it? What would they possibly look like? I love Slash, but I just don't see the same type of energy coming off the stage. I went to that Power to the People tour years ago, Cinderella, Docking, and who else?
Neeley would know.
Poison, Cinderella, and Dokken.
Bach.
And who?
Sebastian
Oh,
Bach.
God.
See, she knows her
Yeah,
old
so
school, man. I'm telling ya.
I don't care about Sebastian Bach now, but then you see them on stage, they look like clean white people that take showers. They don't look like they have the drive to make the money. They're like, hey, we're here, we're back, blah, blah, blah. It's like they just don't work for it. And this is why I like the extreme metal more, is because people are actually out there. You could tell they have that hunger to do really well and put on a show, but I couldn't see Guns N' Roses doing a good
it's a money
show.
grab.
Yeah, of course, and that's all it is, no matter how bad they suck.
And it's interesting because I was telling Neeley, I was just listening to a podcast you did earlier. What was it, last Saturday?
Just Saturday.
Yeah, and you were talking about, you and Chris, of course, and Chris was supposed to be here, but he pussied out. You were talking about how it is, basically a money grab for Slash, getting divorced with his wife Perla,
Ugh.
and she's going to take away half his money, which what was she asking for, like 50 mil?
Yeah,
or
just cut
something?
his ties, so he's better off.
But of course he's going to need money, and this isn't the first time. I remember when he divorced his first wife, Renee or
She
something.
was great, yeah.
But that was I remember he nearly went broke then at 97. He had to sell everything off, to pay for
Right,
that, and
right.
here he does it again. But obviously that's it is. I mean, not to say they're not going to put on a good performance. I mean, Slash always puts on a good performance, and of course Axel's always hit or miss. But the fact that it's not all original members, now I'm hearing it's just going to be
Sucks.
3 of the guys.
Yeah.
And then Axel's pulling in the new guys from the new band, which is complete bullshit.
Whoa,
Steven
what?
Adler, it's gonna who is it gonna be? Richard Fortus.
It's Richard Fortus.
It's not
Dizzy
officially
Reed
announced, but yeah,
Now it
Dizzy
is.
Reed on
will still
keyboard.
be a part of the lineup,
Right.
and they're Frank Farrar, and then
drummer.
Slash, Duff, and Axel.
Right, which
Slash is
ridiculous.
cool.
Because I know Izzy would be more than willing to do it, and everyone knows Steven Adler is more than willing
Oh,
to do
yeah.
it. And I think he would be the obvious choice, way more so over
Maybe it's egos, though. too.
Matt Sorum.
Matt Sorum? I can't. Ugh.
But what do you think, Jake, since you brought
Yes,
the topic
Jake.
up? We want Jake's opinion on this.
They can just take my money now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like any chance I get, I'm gonna go and see him.
Well, see, you're younger than a lot of us. You've never seen Guns N' Roses. I mean,
Wait,
I saw them
Oh,
at the
I've seen
Pride.
them many
You-
times. I
How
saw,
old are you?
Oh, did you back in-
I saw them all four nights at the Coliseum with.
you did
with
back
Rolling
then,
Stones.
okay.
Like I caught them with Skid Row back then.
Yeah.
I just caught them last year at the Palladium. Like the
Yeah, but that's not the
version of it.
real Guns.
He's that
N'
much
Roses.
younger than us. Wow.
Oh,
That's I couldn't. They couldn't charge enough for a ticket.
So you saw the original lineup?
Oh, yeah,
Well, you
many-
must have
many
saw him on
times.
Good Nights, obviously. Axel didn't pull a.
No, Axel
Did
pulled
it?
his shit. He
Yeah.
left. He left early one night. He ran the track. He did a victory lap around the Coliseum floor.
Was that the one with Metallica?
No,
The
that
bot-
was with, and I caught that tour.
Okay.
That tour also.
Yeah, I saw
that was
that.
with the Rolling Stones.
okay.
And the real reason I
cool.
went there was because I loved Living Color.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Living Color.
And that was
dope.
when they announced Steven was out of the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like
before.
his last time with them was
I
at
think you're
right.
those shows.
Didn't he make that? Because I was living in L.A. at the time, and that's when he made the announcement from the stage that somebody has been dancing with Mr. Brownstone, and right after that, Adler was out.
Yeah, that's true.
That was it. Those were awesome. But yeah, I love Guns N' Roses. So really, like I would do anything to go see them again. I love them.
Yeah,
You
well, a
guys
lot of people have that
crazy.
attitude. A lot of people, I mean, there's definitely a demand for it. I don't see, I mean, in Europe it'll do well. I think you were talking that the ticket or their payday would be $2 million. Is that correct, Neeley?
And
From what you-
2.3 million.
Dollars or
that's-
kroners or like euro?
Well, Euro would even be more.
That's
but,
crazy.
That's nuts. And they can only get away with that in Europe. There's no
What's
promoter
the
in the
asking
States.
price for their performance.
You know,
People would pay that in Europe. They'll
I
pay high
know
prices.
Sweden Rock, they pay huge. Wacken would pay huge, or a lot of the big European festivals could do that because they, like I said, it's consistent. Here it's a gamble with in the States. I don't see any U.S. promoter putting up that kind of money for Guns N' Roses.
Really quick, I saw something that was kind of disturbing. It was with Great White. So they're doing, Jack Russell is supposedly doing a documentary on that whole nightclub fire in 2003, was it? Which is
Really?
pretty like dark because a lot of people lost like family members, friends. And I just don't know, like, what do you think would actually make someone put out a documentary about that fire? Besides money, the obvious, like, why would you do that? Wouldn't that alienate more of your
unless
fans?
he's given 100% of the money to the victims.
Yes,
of the
that would be
fire.
appropriate.
It's total bullshit.
But
that,
12 years later.
Well, I didn't hear about it. Have you heard anything about this, Neeley?
I haven't heard anything about it. I can almost understand it. I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand it that that was a very notable tragedy in American history where, a nightclub fire. Didn't they lose the most amount of people in a nightclub fire for that?
That's true. And
Sad.
that goes
It's the most infamous
probably
events.
right up there with, I think, the Paris shooting
Oh, my God.
tragedy probably just topped that. But
Right.
I think we're going into a break is what Jake's trying to tell me by a little Angel Witch in the background, some Atlantis. So let's do a little break. We'll get back into this. That's interesting. I never heard about this documentary.
I just read it the
Jeff.
other day.
Interesting. All right, we'll be back 2 minutes Inside Metal Show on TradioV.
Yeah, I was reading it.
I'm Laura Samoza.
I'm Sterling Gardner.
And we are Between the Sheets every Monday here, 3 p.m., TradioV.com.
TradioV.
That's right, it's TradioV, radio in TV. What is that face?
She wants to see our hands.
That's radio in TV. Wah, 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 wah.
We're not a couple.
This is Quick Fix Radio.
Quick Fix Radio.
Yeah. Check it out, y'all. We back in the building. What's going on?
Yes, sir. What it do? We got some super special guests up in the place,
In the building, we got all 5 live in the building. Bone Thugs in the building.
All
Everybody.
five.
We up in here.
Tonight, y'all.
Not
What's going
one.
on?
Hey man, I had to come see what this TV radio what this all about. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
We got Game on the line. Game, what's going down, baby?
What up? What up, man?
What's going on? Oh man, we got EPO
Double
dealing.
OG.
Who is this on the phone with us?
Yo, what up, man? It's Akon.
Oh, in the building. Line. Who is this on the line?
Be real.
We got Be Real. Oh, Be Real. What is we got on the line?
This Ty Dolla $ign right here.
What up, Ty Dolla $ign in the building.
$ign.
Thanks to all the fans for stopping by.
The Quick Fix with Crazy Bone, right here on TradioV.
All right, we're back. We're back here, TradioV Inside Metal Show. I think my man Jake's got everything dialed in here now. We got Miss Jasmin St. My co-host, the lovely co-host, and of course Neeley from the Classic Metal Show, Skyping in from Ohio, right? Are you in Ohio? I never know where the hell you are these days.
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago.
You are still Chicago?
Same thing almost.
You know, last time I talked to you, you said you moved out of Chicago and you were staying in Ohio. Somewhere.
No, I travel around a lot, but I'm still here.
In the city of Chicago.
Just outside.
Oh, okay.
Outside the
What's
city.
that poster he has? Like, could you?
That's Armored
next to
Saint.
the Armored Saint one, right over there, above the Kiss album. No, that one. Who can you? Oh, really? And he's a Queensryche poster, Led Zeppelin.
Is that L.A. Guns?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Look at Mr. Neeley. That's his man cave there, the Neeley man cave.
Show you some more if you want to see.
Yeah,
see.
I
we're
do,
gonna take
please.
a tour of the Neeley cave here.
Is that in a basement
I
or
like
is that
the monkey.
Oh no.
It's loft.
Okay, Metal Church. Okay, I love Metal Church. I saw them with Wasp.
Okay.
Excellent band.
Of course, Neeley's Dawkins.
What's the one? Oh,
collection.
stop right there. What's next to the dot? The large. Okay, the other dot. What albums are those in the corner there? No. Yeah.
That gold record that was presented to me from my fans when I left the station in Ohio.
Is that Gumby?
That is Gumby.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
look at that. She even knows Gumby. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the
Wow.
Neeley Man Cave.
Look at all that stuff.
Gotta love that. Look
Yeah,
at
it's
that.
like a mini hard rock cafe in here.
Is that Wasp or Kiss underneath the
Wasp.
Billy Squire? Is
That's
that Billy
Wasp.
Squire? Okay.
No, that's Gilby Clark.
Okay. Salty Dog. Oh, I remember these. Salty Dog
You
Testament.
got
That's
good eyes.
awesome.
I can't even read those. Very cool,
That's
Neeley.
impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Well, speaking of Armored Saint, we obviously opened up the this segment with some classic, brand new Armored Saint, Exercise in Debauchery. They just posted a new video for that, and I'm representing them well. I just saw them Saturday night, and I just got to say, I know you're a huge Armored Saint fan, Neeley, and of course, Jasmine.
Yes.
I am.
Can't say enough about them. Saw them Saturday in Corona, which is way on the outskirts of LA, San Bernardino area. And just a kick-ass show. And it was great to see him do a headlining set, like a 2-hour set, and just fucking mind-blowing. Place was packed, and They always deliver live. Such a fucking great, underrated band, man.
Can you deliver, Bob?
Yes, I can, Neeley. Can you, Jasmine?
Yes. I saw King Diamond.
Oh, we'll talk
2
about the
nights in
King
a row.
Diamond, yes.
The King was one
At
of
the
the
Wiltern,
best
right?
shows. Yeah, the Wiltern 2 nights in a row. Like, that's one band no matter what. I love King Diamond, but it's just amazing. It's so theatrical, and I think, like, besides his vocals, just all the themes of his albums and how everything tells a story, I just think he should be directing a horror film. Like, he would give Rob Zombie a run for his money. I mean, he's so creative, and just his stage show is so well done. Did you ever see what it looks like? With the pentagram, the Baphomet in the middle?
I saw them way back in the day when they started.
God.
I saw Merciful Fate when they first came. Played the country club
He
with
played some
Canadian
Merciful
band
Fate,
Exciter.
too.
Yeah?
It was crazy.
That was my favorite.
I felt really weird and really old, which is fine, but I knew every word to every song. People thought I was crazy, but I just knew my stuff. And that's the difference between me and most people that just go to a show. Because they think, but it's a very theatrical show. It should even be an opera, but that's just me. I love the King.
No, King, he's
the
a
best
great
thing.
entertainer. And he's always had a killer backup band behind him. He's always had
yes.
I mean, going back to Merciful Fate with Hank Sherman and Denner and all those guys back then, Kim Ruse and of course then Mickey D and all the guys.
I used to go to the shows in Merciful Fate shows years back.
Always fantastic musicians. Right, Neeley?
Yes.
That's absolutely right. Now I want to ask Jasmin something. How did you get into metal? How did that metal obviously is not a typical female thing. I mean, there are some girls out there who are really into it, but usually they're not the girly girls, like yourself. So how did you get into metal?
Well, growing up, I was an only child. It was rebellious, sort of. I really liked the heavy music. Yet all these kids that were listening to stupid shit like pop music and all that stuff. My mom liked Black Sabbath. She grew up in London, so she liked things like that. So I grew up listening to Black Sabbath, Maiden, Priest. It was just different. And I never liked it. Here's the really weird thing. Like, I never liked it for the guys in the band where girls thought they were hot. Plus, I liked, motorcycles. Like, I grew up in Manhattan. I used to hang out with a lot of people that rode bikes, and they'd listen to a lot of this. And my first show was Black Sabbath when my babysitter took me, and my mom was going to take her to jail or take her to court.
Mob Rules tour,
the Mob Rules. I still have my jersey from that. And my mom wanted to report her for kidnapping. I'm like, why? I went to see Black Sabbath. So I was the only kid in school the next day with a Black Sabbath shirt. Then I snuck out to Carcass and Morbid Angel. But I just like the sounds. It's just different. It's extreme. It's aggressive. It's just the stuff I like. I always liked things like that growing up. I never liked what everyone else liked. I still don't think I do. A lot of girls think Brad Pitt's hot. He's one of the ugliest people I've ever seen. Crispin Glover is way hotter than he could ever be.
So is Lemmy.
Yeah, Lemmy was one of my favorite people when I met here. Some people know the story I just told Bob, but when I was hanging out at the Rainbow, when I was being a girl about town those days.
Which you still are.
I still am. The waitress came over to me. This is when Kid Rock was at his peak, and he tried to get me in one of his music videos, and I didn't want to do it. And then he sent the waitress over. Yeah, Kid Rock would just, I'm sitting by myself, and I'm fine eating alone. He was like, well, he wants to know if you'd like to sit with him. I looked over. I'm like, no. I'm going to go sit with Lemmy. And Lemmy was one of my first friends here. He's a sweetheart, so nothing better happened to him. But yes, that's why I like metal, because it was just different.
That answered your question there.
That answers
and
my
metalheads are hot. I liked all the guys. They were so hot that went to school with the long hair. And yeah, I used to go by the reject school to look at them because they were cute and they listened to metal.
Wow.
Nice.
I think you need to get Jasmin on the CMS.
I want to go, yeah.
Well, you'll have to call in sometime.
She's welcome to come
I think
on
you
the
should
show.
get her on a episode of
What?
Snatch Chat.
What's that? What is that? Oh, fucking Snapchat. I hate Snapchat.
No.
Snapchat. Snatch Chat.
What is it?
It's us dudes talking about chicks.
Let's do it. Oh, we will have such a blast. We will have a complete blast with that. Yes, we would.
That's a date. We will have Jasmin on the CMS on a episode of Snatch Chat.
Well, speaking of which, something to go back to the Guns N' Roses topic that Jake brought up, and something that actually your partner, who's not here today, Chris, because he's a pussy. Did I emphasize that yet? Chris, you're a pussy.
He should do Snatch Chat.
He does.
He should be on it.
He actually does the bumper for it, but we won't need to play it now. But you'll hear Snatch Chat. I'll send you some episodes. But anyway, Chris had brought up about going back to Guns N' Roses, the fact that it was due in large part, according to Chris, which I do agree upon, is Slash's divorce, that he needs the money. And I said, well, it'd be interesting to get Jasmin's
don't
point
even
of view
get
on
me
this.
fucking started with these divorces. And you know what? It's like, I'm sure, and not with her, but just some of these women, they wouldn't have had a lifestyle like that unless it was for meeting guys like that, like Slash. And all these guys do is they enable them to have these high lifestyles. It's just...
Which is enough
we should talk.
alone, and then they have to walk away with $50 million.
Not even that, but
their...
no one would know who she was unless she was married.
Absolutely.
With women, you just have to be your own rock star. Seriously.
See, isn't that something you talked about on the show there?
He is almost mimicking exactly what we said on the show Saturday. That what did she bring to the table where she could walk away with millions of dollars?
I'll tell you. First of all, any whore could spread her legs and have a kid. We all know that. But it takes a real woman to hold on to a guy. Like 90% of women, I think, are useless whores. There's that 10% that I fall into.
I love this girl.
And it's
she's saying it. I didn't tell her to say it.
Right? He didn't. I have a very misogynistic
but I will.
view on women.
I'm not going to stand up for the ladies here, but on Slash's end, how stupid could you be? I mean, he went through this
penis.
before.
That's why he's stupid.
Yeah, he went through this divorce before, like I said, with Renee. So many people. You saw what happened to Paul McCartney with his one-legged chick. She sued him for millions, and everyone's like, "Oh no, she'll never do that." And it is so stupid that they know California law. They know what they're in for when they do this, and yet they still continue. Bitches. Don't get married if you're a rock star. If you have get a prenuptial.
Everyone should get a prenuptial.
Get a prenup.
If I get married, I want a prenuptial, not to protect me so much, but just to show, like, there's two types of women that need to be with a guy and women that want to be with a guy. If I want to, I would. I don't need to be with anyone. Like, I'm an only child, so I've grown to enjoy my own company.
You know what's like? It's like people awesome. That try to that have been smoking all their life. Mm-hmm. And then they end up getting lung cancer, and then they claimed, they had no idea that smoking was bad for them. Now, who doesn't know smoking is bad for them, right? Everyone grew up, but yet they're going to sue the tobacco company because they say, I never knew, and they'll have some fucking attorney back them up. And, it's the same deal. You know what you're getting into. You know California law. It's been happening for many years, going back to, dating back to the 60s, and, you saw the big news feeds with going back to Johnny Carson on the front of the tabloids, having to pay out $100 million, and this was back in the 70s. It's been happening for years, yet these rock stars and actors and actresses still do it.
That's interesting about Slash, and that is something we'll be talking about in your show for sure. But years ago, like 98, I was supposed to go to this Miss Nudes A Poppin' contest in Indiana to co-host it with Slash.
Nudes A Poppin'?
Don't fucking ask. It's an Indiana thing.
I got it. Nudes A Poppin'.
Go Google it. Jake will Google it now. So I hosted it.
Throw it up on the screen, Jake.
I was hosting it with Ron Jeremy and Slash. And I remember we were in a car that day trying to leave like where Slash was living at that point in time. And he had I don't know if it was Renee or some crazy chick, but she was like out running after him in the limo. And it just, like, it delayed getting them to the airport. They missed their flight. They had to go on a different one. But what I will say about Slash, because I've interviewed him, I think he's a really nice, smart person.
He is.
And, he's really just a cool person. And, I hope after this divorce, you're cutting your losses, but I just hope he finds someone that really likes him for him, not what he could do for them, but just really adores him for what a person he is, about the model kits he likes, his dinosaur collection, stuff like that, because that's cooler than someone's fucking wallet.
I think you're the perfect wife for Slash there, Jasmin.
Really? Yeah, but I don't want his money.
Dinosaurs.
I don't give a shit about that. Dinosaurs? The oldest guy I've ever gone out with was 62, but he was a biker, so he looked younger. No, but
you're talking he has a collection of dinosaurs.
Yeah, he does.
Well, there you go.
I like model kits.
So, reaction there, Neeley?
Well, again, I brought it.
He found it, by the way.
It was that
Look at
shit,
screen.
yes, that crap. That was years ago.
There goes.
When I was doing stupid shit.
I love. Put that back up. I was just reading that. There.
Let me see what a train wreck looks like. Hold on.
This is the
Ponderosa
Sun Club. Bring your camera. I love it.
Yeah, so we were doing the.
Why don't they do stuff like that anymore? Hey, did you just hear? I mean, not to get off subject, but when you're talking about Ron Jeremy and all this cats, Charlie Sheen just came out saying he had AIDS for like 4 years,
that's really
and it just
sad.
came out in the news.
It's sad. He's a nice guy, but you know, he does one thing he said that made a lot of sense. Okay, and this goes for you. This is why you look really young, and so do you. You're only as young as the people you feel. Then he said he felt about 22.
There you go. That's why she's my co-host, Neeley.
Is that the reason why?
That's
That
the
is
reason
the
why.
reason why.
Because I know about as much as most men do, even more about metal, and that's the scary part.
I would agree with that.
I'm sure it's no surprise about Charlie Sheen coming up. If you think about the last 4 years, how many women he banged in that 4-year period, and how many women now are going to start coming out
lawsuits,
trying to get lawsuits. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, another topic going from the Slash to this. And I know Slash and Charlie have been real close in the past. I wonder how many girls are going to start coming out. I hear there's already girls.
Well, here's the thing. He's been doing this shit since the 90s. What I can say is this. I know that there are some girls who are in questionable, you know, jobs, whether it was on or off camera. And I'm sure some of them already had pre-existing issues. So it'll be that question of like, how promiscuous were you with other people during that time that could have had that disease? Like, that would be my argument. And, you know, I feel bad for him. I loved him in 2.5 Men, Anger Management.
He was great.
He was always
Men.
cool.
He's a great actor.
So, yeah, it's really sad.
And he's always upfront and honest, you know.
Tiger's milk. Tiger blood. Tiger blood.
Except that he took 4 years to announce this. But other than that, do we need to go into another break, or should we just roll on? All right, Jake.
As long as we don't have a lawyer or the Secret Service or anything, we're good.
There you go. There you go. Something I wanted to mention, or was there anything else you wanted to add there, Mr. Neeley?
No, we covered it pretty thoroughly on the show as well as here, and it was nice to get the perspective of Jasmin that she thinks that 90% of women are gold digging whores.
Yes.
So,
I'll tell you where the biggest ones are at those Fortune 500 companies. Because what they do is they hyper-marry. They go into these entry-level positions and then, like at a good job or even intermediary, and then they marry someone that's way up there, and then they go ahead and have a kid with them and have to stay home. Oh, I popped out a kid. Okay, good. You know what? Then get your ass in the gym.
I love it.
Like my mom, she's always worked. She looks like she's about 45. I actually punched out a guy at I got into an argument with someone at a wedding who's the DJ that wanted to talk to her and was asking her to dance, and I knocked him out.
So, Neeley, don't ask out her mom.
No.
Oh, I won't do that.
Good.
So, bring it up. This reminds me of something you said, Jasmin. I remember I used to do some security for my buddy's company. Yeah, me doing security. We did like high-level security because a buddy had was affiliated with a top, a level security company. So we did all the big events, all the big red carpet stuff, the Grammys, all that kind of stuff, and these big high level parties. We did the NFL football draft party at the Argyle, the old St. James, I don't know what they call it now, the fancy hotel on Sunset. And so here I am, and we looked like Secret Service, all in suits and our little microphones and all this. So we looked all pro, and I'm like talking to a buddy. And all the security guys are my size. I'm a medium-sized guy, and I'm going, really, if something goes down with all these fucking football players, what are we gonna do to stop them? I mean, seriously. But the funny thing is, they showed nothing but the utmost respect for us. Oh, sir, could I do this? They thought we were like total yeah, they would have oh, excuse me, sir, can I do? They thought like we were like these Secret Service kind of guys. So. But the funny thing is, going back to what you were saying, there were so many women there.
For what? Let me guess.
Trying to hook up with these guys. And I would be standing there, doing the security, and I would hear all these chicks. They knew the guys. They knew how much money they made. They're telling, oh, girlfriend, you got that guy. He's like the rookie of the year. He's going to be making $100 million this year. Go after him. Get him pregnant. Poke
a hole in the condom, right?
Exactly. And that is like their goals. And I'm listening. Not that I was surprised, but this is the kind of shit that goes on. There are women that are professional gold diggers.
Oh, I know.
And guys are stupid enough, or naive enough. I don't even want to say stupid enough to to fall for that.
See,
And
that's the problem. And then if someone like me, I can't find anyone because I have my shit together. A guy like that would never want someone
I'm
like
sure
me.
you could find someone there. Miss
No,
Jasmin.
believe me, I wouldn't. Why would I want to go out with them? I had one of those goons like chasing me down on Twitter. I'm like, ill. No. He probably did.
Too bad Chris Aiken isn't here, man. This is this the match
Chris?
made in heaven for Chris Aiken, huh, Neeley?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I could
Bob,
be the Chuck Woolery here and do a.
Well, Bob and I haven't had that problem. We haven't had gold digging women chasing us. I guess we're just too ugly or something. I don't know.
Too ugly or too smart. Or in my case, I'm broke. So what are they going to get out of me? Like,
But we see it with musicians all the time. You know, I was engaged to a guy before, and he was dating a girl that slept with the lead singer of his band, and then she went over to the keyboardist after. Then all of a sudden, guess what? She's pregnant. I just wanted to like put my hands in there and just like rip out her ovaries or her cervix or something, because people like that, it's like they're with these guys for the wrong reason, and it complicates people's lives down the line. You know, it's a shame, and they're always out there. In Europe, we call them black packers because they want to get with with the guys in black metal.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a big thing.
It's black. Yeah, you get them from Romania, Eastern Europe, and France, especially,
Do
and
they
Italy.
have that much money, the black metal guys?
They get with Dimmu Borgir they do,
Well,
and I'm
sure
sure
some
in
of the
other
big
ones,
bands.
yeah. I
Way
mean,
past
it's
some of the
just
bigger bands.
it's
In
not even the
Flames.
money. It's the whole thing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm married to so and so, or I'm so and so's baby mama. Like, who gives a fuck? It's so
Love
much easier to like work on yourself and become more interesting and do things. You know.
Independent women. Gotta love it. Thank you, Jasmin.
Thank you. I still want to lean my bike over like Tom Cruise in that Mission Impossible poster.
Too bad, Chris. See what you're missing out. Chris, call in the show. 855-878-4652. I know you're watching. He's saying he's working.
Where
but,
is he? In what town?
He's in Ohio.
Ugh.
Or is he
I
in
mean,
Pittsburgh now? Chris, is he in Pittsburgh?
Is he in
or
Ohio or?
I think he's in Pittsburgh today.
Oh God. Well, Ohio is cool. Like Ed O'Neill is from there, married with children, and then also
Al Bundy.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, we won't talk about that. But
Uh-oh.
Well, Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, is from there. So
I love Calvin and
so is
See,
Bill
I
Peters.
kind of makes you hot for me, doesn't it, Jasmin?
You look like Calvin, actually. Now that I look at you like an older version of Calvin, I don't know.
I'm a version of Calvin. Calvin rules.
Yeah, but Jasmin, you're too old for Neeley, so.
How old do you like them?
It's not a matter of like.
Yes.
I've just busted his balls out there. Inside joke. You gotta listen to the CMS to get.
I'm too old for a lot of the guys I go out with. I just don't show my ID.
Well, here's something I want to bring up to you, and I was hoping Chris would be a part of this, and of course, the Jasmin we were just talking about earlier. Metal sites like Blabbermouth, one of the
Yes.
bigger sites, but so many metal sites out there. And I don't know if you're having this issue, Neeley, but there's it's funny because I talk to a lot of different podcasters and different journalists and stuff, and they have an issue that now a lot of people they try to interview, for one, they're being real restrictive on who they do interviews with, and a lot of the publicists and or the artists want to hear the interview if it's a podcast or read it before it's published.
Okay.
Reason being, these websites, news sites, have become like tabloids.
It's
and
sad.
It is. It really. It just kind of loses the whole integrity. And I mean, good for the websites. They got every right to publish what they want. But it's kind of making metal. Bands can't even be opinionated anymore because that's going to be the headlines. So many artists that we were just talking about Gene Hoglan. He's going to be on the show, and I would read Gene Hoglan slams Fear Factory.
No.
And I read the thing, I go, that's not like Gene Hoglan. He once, and I read it, and he said something to the effect, well, the new Fear Factory, they have drum machines on it and on the album, and I think that's not cool. They should have a real drummer and blah blah blah. And I go, is that a slam? Is that a real slam? It's basically the website wanting to get clicks,
right?
And it made me watch it to because I'm curious, and that's what it's become nowadays.
Because there are too many out there that are hacks doing this shit. That's why they got to get the things that just grab people's attention.
Well, of course, it's all about getting the clicks and getting the sponsors, because the more clicks you get, the more sponsors, the more advertisers. Which I get, it's a business, and it's cool. But it's cool for them. It's not like it's illegal or they're doing anything wrong. I just think it kind of cuts back because you get someone like, you know, and another thing was with Kerry King when he, Kerry King slams Ghost. And the reporter asked, goes, what do you think of new bands like Ghost? And he's being honest. He goes, I think their image is great. I can't stand their music, but they got a great image. And then on the headline, Kerry slams Ghost. And then you see all the the chatter. Oh, Kerry King, who is he to say this? They don't even take the chance to watch the whole interview or listen to the whole interview. And it's just, boom, they slam, this. And so now, obviously, a lot of these artists are really worried about doing interviews because they can't even give an honest opinion without having that be the headline of a news site. And it is making a lot of bands and publicists weary. Now, Neeley, to go to you, being obviously Classic Metal Show, you interview usually quite a few artists every week on your show. Have you run into any of those problems?
I have not run into any of the problems as far as anybody wanting to proof any questions or wanting to see what was said or listen to what was said prior to us posting it or whatnot. That is not, we've never been approached about that. And I will tell you, only because of the strength of 20 years of the Classic Metal Show, which we'll be doing our 20th anniversary in January, we have the, I'm going to call it a luxury, but it's been 20 years of hard work, but it is a luxury that we don't rely on interviews for the popularity of the show. The interviews that we have on the show anymore are just sort of like a, I don't know, what do you want to call it? A little icing on the cake. But the majority of our fans who listen to us tune in because of Chris and myself. That's fact.
Right.
Having a celebrity musical guest on the show to promote a record, listen to me, a CD, a DVD, a tour, something, some kind of special something or another, that is doing them a favor. That's the way that I look at it. And I don't mean to sound arrogant in saying that, but our reputation after 20 years is solid in the industry. Everybody knows the Classic Metal Show. At least people who pay attention know the Classic Metal Show. We've been around long enough. We're a brand. We're a name. And we don't need the guests in order to survive.
Well, that's great.
True.
And I agree with you. And most people that know the Classic Metal Show know what the Classic Metal Show is all about. And the one thing that is you didn't bring up, too, apart from other podcasts and radio shows, is there's a lot of integrity in what you guys do. The classic, and that's why I love the Classic Metal Show. You guys speak your mind. Whether it's PC or not, you give an opinion, whether people agree or don't agree with it. You say what you say. You're very opinionated about artists. If a band sucks, you'll be the first to say it, and you'll destroy them. And, and then you might interview them a couple weeks later, and you'll make fun of them and have comedic things about, that kind of thing. You do what you do, and you stick with it. It's not a matter of, now, the Classic Metal Show, I know your numbers. If you guys wanted to, you could make a very, very good living doing what you're doing.
Right.
Clean up the show a little bit, get a bunch of sponsors, get advertisers, and do your show like you did on your radio show in Enid, the classic rock show that you guys used to do, which is great, and just play good music and still have great conversation, but clean everything up, make no jokes, no piece, everything's got to be super PC, can't curse. You guys chose not to, and I appreciate, and that's what I think is metal, now, and I don't want to say, I know I mentioned Blabbermouth, I say that because they're the leading of the news sites, but not just them, but so many others that seem have lost that integrity of keeping the metal scene kind of a close-knit, brotherly kind of thing, and having the integrity about it. Now it's just about money. It's like selling out, really, because they have become the tabloids. They're like the TMZ, where they'll just report on the most controversial topic, which really has absolutely, in most cases, nothing to do with the entire interview. It's just something that they know is going to get them the hits or the
sponsors.
The
other issue, of course, a lot of people are going to have issues requesting interviews, and I don't blame them because, like I said, there's so many hacks out there. So if it's someone new, not someone like us, I've been doing this since like 2004. So what is that, 11 years? You, for a long time, you worked at Roadrunner before.
Sure.
they're always going to question what you're going to say, because then you see all these people with these sites, these little YouTube channels and Vimeo channels, and they ask really horrible, stupid questions. They cut it up so it looks it makes the artists look bad.
I actually think a lot of the publicists prefer those kind of people because they know they're just going to kiss the artist's ass. They're not going to ask them any challenging questions, and that's why I ask you, Neeley, because you might ask a question that might have to give the artist to give a, God forbid, opinion about something or whatever. You're not just kissing the artist's ass and saying, you know, oh, you guys are great. How was your tour? How was this? How was that? Now it seems that's how the publicists want all the interviews to be, just so there won't be any controversy, and so that, you know, the artist could just get the the questions that they want to answer. I think Jake's telling me we got how much time we got left here?
Zero, because we
He's giving
started
me the
late.
zero. All right, let's give out our plugs. Make one last comment there about that, Neeley.
Well, all I'm going to say to you, Bob, is that once again, I appreciate you letting me be a part of your show. But anyway, getting back to that, I can't speak for other people, and I know that sensationalism is a huge deal these days. We make fun of that on the show. We talk about being shocked and horrified and offended and outraged and everything else. We make fun of that because it's stupid to us, but we will never be PC. We will never bow to a publicist. We will never bow to an artist's request to review anything ahead of time. You're going to get what you get from us, and it's just going to be unfiltered, and it will always be unfiltered. And if they don't want to play by those rules, then they're not going to be a part of my show.
Well said,
Yay!
Mr. Neeley.
I want to be a part of a show, and it's
All right,
gonna be cool.
you got to hook up a Jasmin Saturday. You're going to be free to call in?
Yes.
All right, there you go. I booked it.
Sounds great.
Jake, my man, the producer extraordinaire.
Yay!
There's a thumbs up. Last words, Jasmin St. Clair.
Yes, visit me on twitter.com, Jasmin St. Clair. Keep those horns high and those heads banging.
All right, and of course, you can catch Neeley on the Classic Metal Show every Saturday night. CMS.com? No, CMS.
No, it's the classicmetalshow.com.
I knew that. Didn't you shorten it up, though? CMS? No, the classicmetalshow.com. All right. Didn't you have another site, though, the CMS Rocks?
CMSradio.net, and on Spreaker, it's Spreaker.com/CMS Rocks.
There you go. Want to get them all out. Of course, Inside Metal, new movie, LA Metal Scene Explodes, is going to be coming out the first of the new year. Definitely you'll be hearing about it. Thanks again, Jake. Thanks again for all you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week with a great guest. We'll end it with a little UFO for you.
Yeah.
You are watching TradioV, Radio and TV.